We watched a lot of movies last year. Quite a few movies in 2014. I don't think I've ever seen as many new movies as I did in 2014 than in my entire life. I think that's fair to say.
This was my biggest movie year, my entire life, by far. I mean, you do a movie every week. You're going to
Well, not every week, but
almost every week. Almost every week.
we did 33 Sage Versus. And I've also saw other new movies that we didn't see Sage Versus on, but I think grand total I saw 40, maybe 40 new films.
Yeah.
And the grand majority of them were just kind of forgettable, not really worth the price of admission. Some were great, and some were terrible. And that's the purpose of this video, to talk about what we feel were the 10 best and worst films that we saw, in 2014. Now, because everyone wants to know what our worst is, we're going to save that for last. So I think we're going to start off with our best picks of 2014. Now, I got my list. He's got his. He's got his list, and we don't know our lists, but if there's some overlap, we'll tell you when there's the overlap. But for my best, I want to give an honorable mention to Under the Skin.
Really?
I really do want to give that an honorable mention because that...
And that's not just because of what other people are saying.
No. I didn't like that film because of the same reasons that everyone else liked that film. I liked it because it was the art film that bad comedians think of when they make art film jokes, because it fit every single stereotype.
It did.
It was it was an endlessly mockable film, and you can have a lot of fun with it in that regard, but the majority of the film, if you actually take it as is, and you try to take it sincerely, is really dry and dull and doesn't exactly have much to say about Scarlett Johansson's character in the movie, and long enough to cover an entire film on.
It's not an acting movie.
It certainly is not an acting movie.
It's
a sleepwalking movie.
Not an exciting movie, except for maybe a few parts.
Maybe a few,
But there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of quiet time on this. It's very... For most of the movie, there's not much going on.
No.
There's a lot of scenes where, they completely milk the effect of her just, driving along. No dialogue, just quiet.
Made up
one face.
Just kind of staring off into the middle distance. And if that constitutes acting,
Well, I suppose she did a great job acting her role
as a mannequin.
Yes.
Like her cold, lifeless. Yeah, I could totally see her as Motoko Kusanagi in Ghost in the Shell.
I think that I keep saying that it's just, bad luck that she keeps getting those roles that are robots or aliens or mannequins, puppets.
Yeah.
Here comes another one. I'm sure there's no pattern here. It's just complete coincidence.
Yeah. But ScarJo is going to pop up somewhere else on my list. Quite a few times, actually, but we'll get to that.
Not so much for me.
We'll get to that in actually right now, because my top 10, this is my top 10 best. Starting at number 10, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Starting at 10 is the best?
No, 10. 10 best, number 10.
Okay.
Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Okay, so your least of your
the least of the best.
Just making sure.
Yeah, what really won out for me personally was that at the end of the day, Chris Evans was a revelation as far as casting was concerned.
Okay.
And that's it's not easy to play a nationalistic hero like Captain America and have him be, likable across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, when you call yourself Captain America, how does that play out in places like China? Or how does that play out in places like France? But it turns out it plays very well because Chris Evans' likability, shines through. And the way they wrote the character and they continue to write the character, I feel is Marvel's best writing. Because I think that's the hardest, the most difficult. Because unlike every other Marvel superhero out there, he's not a snarker. He's not trying to be he's the down and out hero.
Yes.
He's the only real hero in the Marvel team.
He's not arrogant. He is not.
No, he's literally a good guy, and
Yes.
and that could very easily fall into saccharine and sentimentality, but it doesn't. It's real. He is a real character. You could believe that this guy really does exist, and he doesn't come off as too full of himself, the way that most people are scared to write Superman. It's that same idea, and I think that it pulls it off very, very well. It's just the fact that I think that the setting and the the villain, of course, the villain. Like, there's no Marvel movie that has come out yet with a memorable villain other than Loki. That's the only one, and I wish that they could get themselves together in that.
And Loki's not really a villain.
Not anymore.
Not quite.
Not anymore. But I'm not going to try to. I'm not going to diss a movie that's on my best of list. But
Sure, you can.
Oh yeah, but
Absolutely.
I mean, you could, but that's not to like detract away from the fact that it's on the best of list in the first place. But again, like I said, Winter Soldier, I was going in with lower expectations because I knew it wasn't going to be a World War II movie anymore, and it still came out pretty good.
My number 10 was John Wick.
Oh.
I did not think I would be saying this, but John Wick was a big surprise for me. It was really unconventional. A really unconventional action film that was, non-stop, edge your seat action, good martial arts, great gunslinging, different, really good cinematography. Especially, I've never seen guns as pretty, but in a, not like in a, not in a so much a shiny toy gun kind of way, but a very, I don't know how they did it, but they made the guns seem really amazing in that movie.
It made it seem forceful and very impactful cinematography. I am going to stun you. John Wick, my number 1.
Whoa!
I know.
Really?
Really?
Oh, man. Number 1?
Number 1. I know.
Oh, man.
John Wick was my number 1, and I know this seems a little anticlimactic, but we always said we said that like if our lists overlap, we'll talk about the movie and where it places. But John Wick completely blindsided me. I don't think I was ever surprised by the quality of a movie than John Wick ever. And that goes a long way with me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sure, there are better made films out there, but when you're trying to nominate what was the best film you've seen, you can't think logically. You just got to think, what feels right here? What feels right? John Wick, number 1, has problems, but you love that film in spite of them.
Damn.
So I have to say, John Wick, number 1, best film I saw in 2014. Whew. I know.
I didn't see that coming at all.
I was surprised by myself, too. I'm actually surprised that wasn't higher on your list, because we were just gushing about that film.
Yeah, it probably... Let me look at... That's interesting.
But John Wick, number 1. Holy crap. And you gave it number 10, you bastard.
Well, we certainly don't agree this time.
All right. Number 9.
Are you not entertained?
Number 9 on my list, Gone Girl. And you didn't see Gone Girl.
I did not see Gone Girl.
Gone Girl, I saw it with Gavin, and we both came away from that movie thinking that was... We loved the fact that we never knew where it was heading next. And, like, it kind of became fairly obvious what was happening in the movie fairly early. And when, twist, it happens in the middle of the movie, we thinking, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a 3-hour film. Why the hell is this revelation happening now? And so it threw us off guard, and we were kind of enjoying the movie, at the brand. But when that happened, and there was still like another movie after that left to go, we were like, okay, we're going in. And what came out was probably the most incendiary, most accusatory, finger pointing at society I've seen all year. I mean, like when we're looking at movies like The Purge, which was a lot of like satire modern about modern society being as violent as it is and how we need to purge, and it just comes off as immature and lame. But this, what it has to say about not only our culture and about our society and gender roles in each, feels way more relevant, feels better said than like I said, anything I've seen this year. It basically threw a lit Molotov cocktail into the discussion about gender politics and such, and that was you got to respect a movie like that has the brazen balls to do that, and that outside of the what it has to say about society, I feel that Ben Affleck has never been better.
Okay,
That's
there was a time when that would mean little, but that means something now.
It does mean something.
That does mean something.
Affleck, I don't think Affleck could ever play someone who, he's not an actor that can carry a movie with his charisma. I think he needs a good script, because when he doesn't have a good script and he has to rely on his wit and charm, he just falls flat more often than not. And I also don't believe
that's actually very good. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't believe
he's a man who needs good direction.
Yeah, and that means if he's a man who needs good direction, and he's a man, like, if he has to direct himself, he'll do it. Argo, he directed himself in Argo, but he also kind of shares some qualities with like, say, Robert Downey Jr. in that he can't play someone who's not Robert Downey Jr., or in this case Ben Affleck. And I don't believe he was good in Argo, for instance. He's just played Ben Affleck with a beard. And here in Gone...
Evil Ben Affleck?
No, that'd be goateed Ben Affleck. But Ben Affleck in this movie, I feel, was the first time he got out of his comfort zone. And he played not really a bad guy, but he played a guy who he certainly wasn't the good guy.
But you could empathize with him.
Well, you could empathize with him. He was realistic in his portrayal. Like, you made it show, like, he's not too likable. Like, there's a reason why this plot exists.
Yes. So,
but he was able to find that, and this, I feel, is his first real, like, if he got an Oscar nod for this, I wouldn't object to that. But wow. I don't think he will. I don't think he should, but if it does, I'm tentatively saying, like, all right. But yeah, what's your number 9?
Yeah, that'd be Lego Movie.
Really? Lego Movie, number 9.
Lego Movie. I was I think I was more surprised by that film than I was by anything other than John Wick.
Like, still, John Wick was more surprising, but
John Wick was still barely more surprising, but still, just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Lego Movie was. I never thought that I could enjoy any movie about Legos portraying popular characters.
But then Lego Batman showed up, and
it was doing pretty good even before Batman showed up. That was just the icing that made it on my number 9.
The Batman icing, as it were.
Yeah, the nice dark, brooding icing on a very bright and colorful cake made of Legos. It was very good. Very good movie. It was very humorous. It had references in it that, the kids won't get. That's for you. And
but it never feels risque. Not like like this is a G.
There was
movie.
nothing in it that you couldn't bring your kids to see.
Yeah.
And it also even had points where it became very very deep. It got really sad, like Toy Story sad almost.
No, I wouldn't. No, it's not Toy Story.
Okay, sad. It wasn't like yanking at your heartstrings.
But it was just like
bashing you over the head with it. But
yeah.
It was, without. I guess spoilers are not a problem now.
No.
But the Will Ferrell scene with the kid, it was so.
It was done very well.
So touching.
I don't think Will Ferrell has ever had a moment as good as that.
Yeah, that was a big acting moment for Will Ferrell.
When he slowly realizes he's the bad guy in his own kid's story.
Yeah.
That's
That scene, it was humorous, it was heartfelt, it was just excellent.
It kind of carried over this broad range of emotion, that scene, because you can't not. When you see Will Ferrell on screen, you're just kind of almost like, oh no,
oh no, we didn't know who the father was going to be, the big man, or what was it, big man or tall man,
like the big man or something like that,
Mr. It was Mr. Work or something,
or like the man upstairs or something like that.
Yeah, and we were like, who's it going to be? It's Will Ferrell. No,
he's already the bad guy.
Don't mug. He didn't. No, he didn't mug it. And
no, he saved the mugging for when he was playing Lord Business.
Lord Business was the one I was thinking of. Lord Business, that's the name. But also there's a scene in that movie I wanted to point out that I forgot to in our review of it. There was a point that I really liked where there's a Lego Cleopatra, and I don't know, there was like chaos throughout the entire toy or Lego base or whatever.
Lego World. And
Cleopatra's viper bites her and she commits suicide. And it's like, that's good stuff. That's funny. That's
Lego Movie. Where does it appear on my list? Lego Movie number 4.
Number 4. So okay, not too far off.
Not too far off. We're
not, well, a little bit, but
I mean, it's not as wide as 10-1 was, but I
will say John Wick was a bit of a wild card for me. I couldn't decide if it was high on my list or low on my list, but I didn't feel like it could be between.
But Lego Movie, the Lego Movie, I wasn't as surprised, not nearly as surprised as I was with John Wick, because I heard good things and I knew the directors had a good history with taking concepts that seemed like, why would you make a movie out of this and make the best possible movie they could? It's like, why would you make a 21 Jump Street movie? Oh, because you can make that. Why would you make a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movie? Oh, because you can make it something like that. So they had a proven track record, so I wasn't too afraid that they were going to, finally make a bomb. And so going into the movie, I was not expecting to laugh as much as I did, though, because I'm a very hard person to make laugh. And that goes leagues with me. But that goes leagues with me if you can make me laugh legitimately, earnestly make me laugh, and it did. And of course, finally, we got the Batman we always deserved. Yes. The douchey Batman. We need our douchey Batman. Ben Affleck, if you make Batman a douche in the Superman v Batman movie, yeah. Oh god. Number 8 on my list. Number 8, the Grand Budapest Hotel.
I did not see that.
It's I don't like Wes Anderson movies for the most part, because I feel like they populate themselves with quite a few unlikable characters, and like Rushmore, especially especially the Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, that was
that bombed.
Just talking about bombs. God, just filled to the brim with like truly detestable characters, and that might have been the point of the movie, but it's just you might as well be daring me to watch your movies. Like, it's going to be filled with people that you absolutely hate, filled with actors you absolutely hate. You thought you hate Gwyneth Paltrow before.
Oh God, I saw that list where she was one of the top people hated.
Conscious uncoupling my ass. I'll consciously uncouple your head from your shoulders. But so I saw the Grand Budapest Hotel not because because of the press around it, but rather because it was sort of like it was sort of like a coming back to like, do you still hate Wes Anderson? And I sat through the movie and I found myself oddly entranced by the movie. The movie presents its own world very pictorially. It's filled with pastel colors, and it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like anything in this that came out this year. And Wes Anderson, besides having the kind of offbeat, slightly underplayed characters that populate his world, but those are still there, but they're far more likable because they actually show some humanity. It's like, I know, right? Like Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes in the movie, he doesn't play the typical Wes Anderson lead. He doesn't play like Bill Murray would play in The Life Aquatic, or using that as an example, he plays it with a kind of like a knowing wry smile, but there's still like an actual like there you can see that he does care about the character named Zero. I forgot the actor's name, but he actually does care about him and care about his welfare. And that there were these moments peppered throughout the movie where you realize that he's, there's a real bond forming between these two characters, and that's what drives the movie. That and even though he didn't have a lot to say in the movie, Willem Dafoe, his bounty, I mean, he wasn't a bounty hunter. His gangster role. It was so much fun because he was so evil. And he didn't say anything. He just
now I want to see the movie.
Yeah, like Willem Dafoe is just like this, like this gun for hire. I think hired by Adrian Brody.
Really?
Yeah, Adrian Brody's in the movie.
Well, I really want to see this now.
I know, like there's a lot of.
How did this get by me?
Because I think it was a limited release. It was a limited release.
Oh, I'm gonna have to rent it.
Yeah, it's for rent. If besides the fact that it's on my best of list to see this movie, he doesn't say much, but there's this great scene where he's chasing Ray Fiennes down a ski slope.
This is such a fun movie.
I know.
Oh my god.
It is. It is a real fun movie.
Oh man.
Oh god. And of course, how could I'm blanking on his name. Independence Day.
Bill Pullman?
No.
Paxton?
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum?
Yep.
He's in it?
Yes, he's in it.
Ah!
I love how you got Jeff Goldblum just by me doing, yeah. Wait, no.
Jeff Goldblum and I.
That was a match made in heaven, but...
Maybe it's just me, but sometimes I think I sound like Jeff Goldblum unintentionally when I'm talking on camera.
You can't help it.
Is it just me?
There's a little Jeff Goldblum in all of us. But getting back to the movie itself, it's I love how it's set in a place that looks so unique, and I love the fact that it's a movie set during wartime, and finally I love that it was sort of like a love letter to a bygone era of extinct opulence. You know how like when you look at buildings, they always had a certain grandeur to them when they were built like in the early 1900s. There's always something there versus like buildings that look kind of, soulless.
Capturing the essence of their time.
It captured
the architecture.
Yeah, it captured a certain time and place that's just not with us anymore. And I love the movie for doing that.
Cool.
So, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Hercules.
Oh, that's one I haven't seen.
You have not seen.
I have not seen.
We both had reasons for not seeing it in theaters.
Keep in mind, this was the Rock version. The Rock's.
Yes,
because there was two Hercules movies.
I don't know about the other one, but the Rock version. Oh man, this movie surprised me a bit.
Because I heard horrible things coming from the movie because they were trying to make that Hercules just a regular guy, like all the stuff you saw in the promos were all just people exaggerating tales.
Well, you see, I don't want to give away anything since you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you'll forgive me. But Hercules was a really fun movie. It was really fun. And
like in spite of the change,
in spite of the change that they made to it, it was really fun. And the change isn't quite so severe
as it sounds.
Because
it sounds pretty shitty.
The change isn't quite as severe as it seems. Let's just put it that way. This movie had an idea and went with it, and I think they succeeded.
Because when I want to see a Hercules movie, I want to see a movie where Hercules takes a big old sledgehammer and slays a gigantic boar, and kill the Hydra and shit like that. But
you need to see the movie. It's a surprise.
All right. I'm going to trust your judgment on that.
Yes. That's all I'll say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
Nice, concise, to the point. All right. So, my number 7, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Really?
Yes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That was A movie that I felt it had all the action beats that you expect from a modern action movie, but it brought back an element of intelligence that's sorely missed in action movies these days. Because I believe that I believe that modern action movies, and especially reboots and this current trend that we're in now, they're missing what makes the movie, what made the original movie work, and how we can expand on that or reinterpret that. It just feels like, why did you even bother? And here in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I hate the title, but you got to keep Planet of the Apes. You got to keep Planet of the Apes in there. But besides the title, I feel like they knew what made the first movie work, realizing that they can't do it again. And so they expanded, like, well, what really led to Ape Kind? Excuse me. What led Ape Kind to the pinnacle of the world power that it is? And it's an interesting story. Even though you know what the outcome is, the writing and the acting is so good that you're just kind of like, you almost forget. Like, during the movie, you kind of think, like, yeah, maybe humanity and apes can learn to get along together. Oh, God, you're stupid. No. But besides that, the fact that they can win me over like that speaks volumes of the quality of the movie.
Yeah.
And plus, I don't think I've ever seen a movie look as good. I mean, the technical wizardry behind that movie was jaw-dropping. Like, it almost looks lifelike. There's no uncanny valley. It managed to surpass the uncanny valley, and like, you can somewhat tell that it's not quite real, but it doesn't bother you. And you're just kind of, like I said, you're kind of along for the ride. I wish there were. I love the fact that this was a movie. This was a movie that knew that it didn't have to be funny. Like, there are a lot of action movies dealing with the end of the world feel like compelled to have lighter moments, and there are some, but at least to a dark outcome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
I know exactly what we're thinking about.
Like, and that's why, like, little moments like when the band's The Wait plays in the gas station once they get the power back on. That's why it is so effective, because you went through like an hour of movie time of humanity trying to grapple with its predicament. And there's almost no relief in sight. So when relief does happen, in a chance of like power and song, that's made much more effective. And I applaud the movie for realizing that.
So, Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, from dusk till dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Return of the Curse of the Creature's Ghost.
That was an honorable mention for me.
Oh?
Didn't make it.
Did not make it? Oh, God.
John Wick made it, but
no.
Planet of the Apes didn't. And, it was a grand movie. It was perhaps not given enough credit. But it was a really good movie. It was well built, but it doesn't stick. It doesn't have any moments that stick out for me the way the other movies that I chose to do.
I'll grant you that. It's kind of like uniformly like quality. There isn't like a sudden spike in a memorable scene.
And spikes. Yeah, I love spikes.
So that's really the only reason why it's off your list.
That's the only reason. It's because I'm really going for things that just completely wowed me at some point. Something that really stuck in my head. And you know what? I don't find myself going back to Planet of the Apes very often in my head. I don't.
I suppose that's fair to say.
However, Hercules. There's a moment. There's some moments in Hercules that I will keep going back to.
Okay. Watch. I see that. I'm Hercules. Watch.
We will watch this movie together, and I will show you.
All right. What's your number 7, man?
That and A Good Man. My number 7 is 300: Rise of an Empire.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You know what? That was a movie that was kind of tough to leave off the list, because it was so many memorable moments. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like I kind of feel bad for liking the movie as much. I put that under a guilty pleasure.
Oh, I felt bad too, but you know what? Eva Green did it for me.
Yeah, Eva Green
did it for me.
This is the year of Eva Green.
Yeah.
Her in Sin City and her in 300. It's like Where were you before?
Yeah.
It just, but
What did we have before Ava Green? I've been just dying for a good actress. I'm sorry, but there just doesn't seem to be very many good actresses right now.
And here's the
It's
thing.
disappointing, and I think we know why. God, and it pisses me off so much that when I get a movie that's stupid like 300 Rise of an Empire, it's just such a relief that. God damn, she was good in this.
She was good while being terrible at the same time. It's this weird sort of balance. Like,
Yeah.
like she makes these faces that this pouty,
But it just.
but it's like this weird sort of. You know what it is? She has like the Nicolas Cage syndrome. That's what it is. Like there's on-screen presence. It's magnetic. You can't look away.
Yeah.
But you can't. You're almost on your back foot when you're calling them a great actress.
Yeah.
Because there's no dignity.
Oh.
There's almost like they don't carry themselves with dignity. They carry themselves with this sort of manic energy that you can't not love.
Gravitate towards. Yeah, she was amazing in that movie, and that stuck out. God, she's sexy as hell.
Yeah,
I mean, and she's got. I mean, I also love I love the costuming they did for her. The freaking cat of nine tails dress that she wears. This movie was. I was also not expecting anything good. I was sure it would be worse than the first movie, but I think I ended up enjoying it even more.
Which is weird because I don't remember you actually really liking 300.
No, I didn't like 300 that much. Not really. It felt way too much like a Army of One commercial.
Yeah.
Long Army of One commercial. That's what it felt like. This one did not feel so much that way.
I'm inclined to agree with you on the point that this is definitely a guilty pleasure movie.
It is.
I think that's
it is really a guy flick.
Yeah, because those aren't made enough. This
Those
whole
are not
like
made.
Hollywood does not make nearly enough movies
But it's
made
a
for the male
guy
ones.
flick with a very, very strong female villain.
That's what I think that's sorely missed. Like people are scared to make a villainess to have a villainess because, especially with a male hero, because eventually there's going to be a fight and the villainess dies.
Yes.
So that means that you're going to have a scene where a man and woman fight and the man wins and kills her, and everyone's PC conscious attitude. That I think that could cause a lot of undue headaches. It's like let's not even bother, and that's not good. And I think
No, her getting it was necessary.
it was
It was
necessary,
completely necessary,
and they made it work, and that death scene worked.
Yes,
And
it was a very good character. Very good portrayal.
Very, very memorable portrayal.
Yes.
If I had the chance to make the list again, maybe it would have made my honorable mentions, but
We have some of those between us that we hear it from the other person. It reminds us of why it could have made the list, and had certain things been different, done it at a different time. Like if we'd done this earlier, it might have changed things. A lot of these were really, really close.
yeah, and consider it my honorary 12th.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6.
What's your number 6?
Guardians of the Galaxy. My number 6.
I guess that
I know.
after having to hear you moan and groan, I guess I'm surprised it even made it on your list.
No. I like Guardians of the Galaxy, despite my grievances with Marvel.
I know that your grievances are with Marvel, and then it's also that you felt it was too popular. I mean, it was too popular.
It is still too popular. I mean, it's not nearly as good as everyone else is making it out to be, but it's not like it's not an enjoyable film, because it really is. And I do believe that Chris Pratt, if he weren't playing Star-Lord, would have made a pretty good Deadpool. I think he would have. I think he misses calling as Deadpool. I would rather see Chris Pratt as Deadpool than I would see God, his name, Ryan Reynolds. I would rather see Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, even though I'm not a Ryan Reynolds hater. I like Ryan Reynolds, but I think
I'm cool with him.
Yeah, I think Chris Pratt would bring a lot more doofiness to the character than Reynolds would.
I'd rather see Chris Pratt at this point now, I think, than I would a lot of different heroes that Amazing Spider-Man, Chris Pratt. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, I'm excited to see James Spader in Ultron too, but that's for next year or next few months. But regardless, the Guardians of the Galaxy worked, and I never really had a doubt that it wouldn't work. What I was surprised, though, by was the way that James Gunn was able to undermine the big D, the House of Mouse, and still manage to put his own little trauma touches here and there. Like, there was no compunction to have Benicio del Toro have slave girls, for example. Like, if it were in any other director's hands, they would just kind of strike that from the record. Yeah. And I'm not saying that the fact that Benicio del Toro has slave girls makes it better. I'm just saying that,
they tried it on with many actors and it wasn't working, but Benicio del Toro, that was their way.
But I'm not saying that the fact that they're there is a good thing. I'm saying that in a world filled with, despicable people and like moral ambiguity, seeing a director not say like, hey,
just throw it all out.
Just throw it in there. Let's just have the collector have a slave girl. Well, they never called her. Did they ever call her a slave girl? But it was implied.
It was implied because she said, "I will no longer be your slave."
Yeah, but
which kind of implies.
Yeah. No, they prefer the term indentured servant.
Yes,
but again, going off track here, as we always do. It can't beyond.
She was threatened that if she didn't do her get down on her knees and scrub, that she would be like taken apart and thrown into the freaking test tubes or whatever on display.
But like those little touches to kind of undermine the wholesomeness of the big House of Mouse, I wholeheartedly approve of. Maybe kind of tone it down on the. It's not even implied, just kind of like the overt sexism.
Yeah.
But tone it down in that regard, but at the same time, you know what? You can't. It presents itself so fun. It's such a fun-loving movie that you just kind of have to like, yeah, you called that bitch a bitch, Gamora.
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna be doing a Guardians karaoke thing. Because why not?
Oh, you're going to have a karaoke mix of all the songs that are in...
we're going to go troll a bar with, super awesome mixtape songs. I'm sure they'll love it.
You love this film so much that you kind of overlook the fact that, like, wait a minute, he's out in the farthest reaches of the galaxy, yet he found himself a cassette player.
Yeah. Like, I think I heard that they're actually selling the soundtrack on cassette.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, man. I mean, if you can, bring a resurgence to cassette tapes.
Fucking hipsters.
Movie, then you know what? That movie's done pretty damn good.
Fucking hipsters.
Oh, man. They were already on board.
Yeah. But Guardians of the Galaxy?
That was my number one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Actually, that didn't...
Doesn't surprise you too much, does it?
Guardians of the Galaxy is a lot of people's number one.
It is a lot of people's number one. That's why it wasn't initially my number one.
But don't take the hipster attitude towards this.
I did take the hipster attitude.
It's like if it feels right in here, it feels right in here, and
no, that's what I learned.
Yeah,
because I was listening to some of the songs and stuff, and I watched the movie again, and I realized, this is of all the movies I've seen, if I had to recommend one from the year to somebody, which I did end up having to do, it was Guardians. And I've seen it 3 times now. So,
and you don't own it.
And I don't own it.
So that means you had to go out of your way to go see this movie.
I did.
Again.
So that's definitely my number one. Don't need to go into why.
Because
if I need to, then go watch it if you haven't seen it. But I do not need to explain myself.
All right. Well, what is the purpose of this video anyway? To explain why we like movies?
Yeah.
All right. What is your number 6 then?
My number 6 is Godzilla.
Oh, that was a tough one for me to leave off. It really was.
Yeah.
Like, I love the ending. I love that ending so fucking
The
much.
ending makes up for a lot.
I think it made up. Would you say that it made up more for you than it did for me?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
The
ending.
thing is that Godzilla, this was the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes, really.
Yeah.
Better than the original.
I will agree that the original Godzilla has not aged very well.
It's true. It's true.
And that's
I mean, it was like there was just too many things in this movie that put it on my list. It was, the build-up seemed a bit long, but it really paid off. I do like build-up rather than just dinosaur eggs.
That's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. And, the casting was good. And, oh man, then there was Bryan Cranston. Like, they threw him in that movie when they totally didn't need to at all.
No.
And he did a great job, as he always does. He brought everything to that role, and he brings you practically to tears for the small amount that he's in it.
Yeah.
So, they didn't have to do that. It wouldn't have hurt them that much to not go all out, but they did. And I have to give them credit.
Yeah.
That it was, if it's the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen, then I have to put it on my list.
Well,
There's been quite a few.
I'm not surprised that it's on your list, but I am surprised that it's so high on your list. Because I thought that would be like one of those on the cusp, like 10-9.
It's, what, I was thinking to myself, is this the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen?
Yeah.
If yes, then it kind of needs to be high on my list because that's a big deal.
Like, I just wish that the main actor of Kick-Ass, it's the guy who plays Kick-Ass.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was the same person until halfway through the movie.
Yeah. He was practically transparent.
He was cardboard.
Yeah, like he was a cardboard presence in the movie, and I think that like if there was more like if the movie was going to focus on the human characters,
Should have used Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt as Godzilla, just put him.
No. That was the part that I was missing from the movie that I was very upset about. That's why it's not number 10. I'm sorry, number 1. If it was Bryan Cranston, if he became mutated from radiation and was the size of Godzilla,
and then fought
and
Godzilla,
then came out of the water, that bridge scene, and fought Godzilla. Now I was going to definitely have it on my number 1.
It'd be on mine. I don't like.
I was very upset when that didn't happen.
Bryan Cranston,
Giant radioactive Bryan Cranston.
giant with like radioactive breath,
Yes. Like the Trollolol video.
or like with meth breath.
With meth breath. Oh man, everybody's on drugs.
That's
Yeah.
But that's I guarantee you that your list is not going to look like anyone else's list out there. Oh man,
It's a bit eclectic, I guess.
yeah, and I am looking forward to the sequel. I am very much looking forward to the sequel because now there's no need for the build up. I want to see more awesome fight scenes.
True. Yes. And
I want to see.
I will hold them to that.
I
Now that it's out.
was like, I want to see more awesome fight scenes like that last one. God, that was so fucking good. All right.
So your number 5.
My number 5, Noah.
I knew that was going to be high for you.
Yeah,
And it's not even on my honorable mention list.
really.
It didn't make it at all.
Damn. I love Noah mainly because of how it just seemed to take so many chances with itself.
Yeah.
It told a weird story in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And almost, I wouldn't say it's conflicting. Like, it wasn't trying to be, like, enticing, or not enticing. It's not trying to incite, like, discussions of, like, religion and how it affects us today. It was more along the lines of, like, why don't we tell this biblical story from from a mythology standpoint? And that rubbed a lot of people a long way.
A lot of people were.
Yeah, and still knowing that and telling itself with all due, how do I put this, with the respect that mythological sources should receive was definitely a feather in that film's cap, and also just coming after the terrible fucking Les Miserables movie.
Oh,
In comes
yeah.
Russell Crowe to remind everyone that yes, he can act.
Yes. May not be able to sing, but he can act.
But he could definitely act, and his Noah just went from clear across the board. It was like it encompassed every single human emotion possible, from like stark raving mad lunatic to loving father, and all the way back again. It was amazing to see, and Jennifer Connelly came back with a vengeance, and just like, did you miss me, you fucks? I mean, sure, she had kind of like her Oscar clip moment when she was yelling at Russell. Was it Russell Crowe? Yeah, and she was on hysterics, and it was like, yeah, that was a little much, but she still won me over completely. She made me fall back in love with Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
And of course, Ray Winstone as the the King of Man.
That was probably I don't know, between Noah and him, that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, that like there's only two of each animal. Well, there's only one of me.
There's only one of me.
He just munches on an animal. Doesn't even cook it. Doesn't even kill it before he eats it. He just takes a bite out of it and just. I don't know, what was that? A unicorn? I don't give a shit.
Just like the perfect embodiment of Cain.
I know, it was amazing. I love that performance, and I love this movie, and I love how it was able to take as many chances as it did, and that's why I love Noah. I love Noah.
It was a good movie. I will give it that. And
but
although the rock monsters
were amazing.
They were amazing and they were terrible. Both at the same time. Kind of like, people who think that pugs are ugly and cute at the same time.
Yeah.
They're really just ugly.
Their big old bulging eyes. Looks like somebody stepped on their
Spoiler, they're ugly.
Oh, how good are your actors? If Anthony Hopkins could be in your movie and he's the last one you mentioned.
Oh God, berries and cream. Anthony Hopkins, big berries and cream moment.
I've always wanted some berries.
Berries? I think he even stuttered a little. Berries. So it was like, berries and what?
Please just say cream.
Please say cream.
God, we're terrible.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
But Noah, number 5 for me. What about you? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Sin City. Sin City.
Wow.
Sin City.
Holy fucking crap. That movie had so many fucking problems that I couldn't bring myself to put it on my list. I couldn't do it because as much as I loved Marv, he was absolutely useless in this movie.
It's true.
As much as I love David Green in this movie,
Sin City was just so much F-U-N, capital F-U-N.
It was. I cannot take away from that movie. It was fucking.
I'm so surprised that didn't make it on your list.
I kept trying to find a reason.
You enjoyed it more than I did.
I did, but I kept looking at that movie and I was like, I love it, but I don't.
You didn't buy into the masses, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't buy into the masses. I would have put it on my list. I would have put it on my list if I loved it in the same way that I love all the movies on my list. And that's what ultimately won out. Is like my love for Sin City, Dame to Kill For, just isn't the same kind of love for the rest of these films. Like, because it almost feels like you're lying in a certain way. Like, how could you love this movie the same way you do this? I don't. Then why is this higher? Like, I just want.
Yeah.
I just was fighting myself mostly to.
This is the problem that I had with John Wick, I think. The same problem. The way that I enjoyed that movie is, like in the wake of movies, like I can't say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, wasn't on my list, but, comparing it to, like, 300 or... Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Legit, things that I want to say, but I'm going to wait until we get to...
Like, legit good movie versus...
Yeah.
Exploitation for the sake of exploitation, sexy, big tits bouncing, and...
The funny thing is, movies like that, you might, 10 years from now, completely just not think. May not even be thinking about the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. You know, I mean, it'll be there in the way that good large budget movies are, but it's kind of like I have a soft spot for the movies that could become cult classics. Ones
like. You know what it comes down to? Like, I love the movie, but I cannot overlook its flaws. It's that love isn't conditional.
Yeah.
It's like, I love you, but you're bad for me. I can't. You're a bad for me kind of movie.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But damn, that scene where they're panning up, and they're in his office, and he shows his son on the painting, the big yellow.
Oh God, the yellow bastard. I think also my love for that film was influenced by the fact that we saw it with the best people.
Oh yes, we saw that was the movie where they brought in the beer bottles, like not even just like smuggling their beer, and they brought bottles and they were like clanking and dropping all over the place, rolling around the theater. Oh man,
it was so disrespectful, but nobody cared.
It was I cared enough that I didn't do anything. I didn't.
But yeah, like
I knew who they were. I see them weekly.
But that, like I said, it was one of those movies where
first thing we came into the theater, they offered us alcohol.
Oh yeah.
They were like, "Hey, you want some, of our wink wink juice?
You want some of our fun juice?
That fun juice that
it makes a rubbly in your tumbly."
I don't know why he bothered to try to hide it and camouflage it as
like Arizona
iced tea or whatever. When everyone next to him had actually like bottles out.
I don't know.
It's a little late at that point, but
and that's kind of like their YOLO moment.
I guess at least that guy tried, but.
I mean,
that's your YOLO moment. God, do we have to say that?
Yeah.
I was recently in a situation with YOLO, and I don't want to talk about that. Let's just say that you don't only live once; you live lots. You only die once. It's Yoda. Is it Yoda or Yodo?
Yoda. You only die once.
Yodo. It's so close to Yoda, but anyway.
All right, number 5 for you, Sin City. All right.
Die once you will.
We already said that number 4 was the Lego Movie for me. So, moving on to my number 3, Nightcrawler.
Okay.
Nightcrawler...
It's understandable, I guess.
So it's not on the list?
It's not even on my list.
Wow.
It is an honorable mention, though.
It is? Okay. Well, I when you look at my list of movies, and you realize that they're like putting movies like freaking like 300 or Rise of an Empire or Sin City, that's where you kind of like, what? That's where like the stumbling block would happen. And it all came down to like, why do you love these films? And in the case for Nightcrawler, I love this film because I never thought Jake Gyllenhaal
would be more awkward than he was
in Donnie Darko. You remember my little...
Yeah.
I remember.
Okay.
But yeah, like, people kind of don't give Jake Gyllenhaal enough credit for being a good actor because, they all remember him for, like, Bubble Boy or...
I forgot about Bubble Boy. Oh, my God.
Dude, that was him. You remember, like, the bus... You remember the guy who was taking the tickets at the bus depot he was trying to...
Oh, my God.
That was Zach Galifianakis.
I never finished that movie. I only saw parts of it. I just know... I forgot that was him. Oh, man.
I mean, but besides being in Donnie Darko, I feel like he was the driving force in, like, say, Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, people like to give Heath Ledger credit for that movie.
No, Heath Ledger was great in that movie, but you're right.
It was Jake Gyllenhaal.
Hand it to Jake Gyllenhaal.
He was the heart and soul of that movie, and he didn't get nearly enough credit for that.
Yeah.
And in comes Nightcrawler to prove that he could play the most wide-eyed, insane, moon-faced, pathetic...
Piece of shit.
Like, piece of shit, manipulative, worm-tongue kind of asshole. And the writer and director, I think it was first time writer director, but yeah, he had the balls to basically have him not be punished. He goes unpunished throughout the entire movie, and I feel that resonates so much better than if there was some kind of karmic punishment.
And that's resulted in that. Well, I did not like the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I've made that point many times.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that he should have been punished. There shouldn't have been any kind of, cosmic punishment for what he did. That's not why I had a problem.
But
it was just I felt that the end of the movie was lazy as fuck. Just fell flat to me, and that's why it's not on my list. I was waiting. It's like they had great casting. The actors really brought it.
Rene Russo.
Really just him. Yeah. It had good dialogue, great dialogue. It had great, lines, memorable lines. Even though the funny thing is that the most memorable line from the movie wasn't in the movie, and that's always kind of a clever thing to do.
Yeah.
But
no, I think the line that kind of clinched it for me was like, what if I get people, and I just don't like them?
Yeah.
That
was definitely...
That was, the moment. That was the moment. And that ending car chase was... That was, bar none, the best car chase of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Of any movie of the last 5 years. It was...
You know what? Yeah, I know what it is.
What?
This was such a good movie that they're not having an amazing ending pissed me off.
So, like,
I'm angry at the movie for not continuing and just putting the final touch on that thing. It's like, I turned in my project and it was a beautiful thing, and then I scribbled my name on it in big bold print, really sloppy and crude.
It's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be.
It's like I drew a beautiful picture and then I just signed right over the entire thing. It's just, and I'm so upset they did that.
Yeah, I can understand your frustrations in that regard, but the ending, while I can agree with you that it wasn't nearly as good as the rest of the movie, didn't ruin it for me. I feel that this was a performance movie, and the performance in question just knocked it right out of the park. So that was my number 3. Number 3 for you?
X-Men.
Ooh,
Days of Future Past.
Did not see this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, missed it.
And you still haven't?
Still have not.
Man, we got some catching up to do for you. You can see that on your own.
Yeah.
I want to be there for Hercules, though. Oh God! In the movie, the movie that we missed, I guess, of the year, A Good Man. Now, I don't think that came out in theaters, and I really don't. It didn't. But yeah.
But we're talking about X-Men.
X-Men Days of Future. But we're talking about X-Men, Gabe, the movie you just brought up, not the second movie you brought up, which has nothing to do with this review. Days of Future Past was a good movie. Wolverine, on the other hand, was so fucking useless. He was useless in this movie the same way, I guess you could say, that Marv, you said, was useless in Sin City.
Yeah. He was just kind of there because
I mean, it's like Marv. He was kind of the main character in that he was, the one person tying all the scenes together. I guess kind of in a Brad Pitt way. He is he is the man. He's amongst men, but he is not of men. But according to this guy.
No. Trying to clarify that, just to putting a pin in that for a moment. It is my theory that Brad Pitt does not play any role in which he is not we are not subject to him.
Yes.
Like especially in Troy, Meet Joe Black, and he's the guy who tells us that our food is good enough for his consumption. He is among men, but he is not of men. Things just happen around him, and we're all just stopping in awe of Brad Pitt.
Of Brad Pitt and men.
Brad Pitt, Fight Club especially. That's... So Brad Pitt is the king of that kind of acting. That's sort of like there, but not quite there.
Quizzical look.
But back to your point about X-Men.
I think it was the second best X-Men movie I've ever seen.
First one
being my favorite. The first X-Men.
The Bryan Singer, X-Men.
The one that had my man, frickin' Sabretooth in it.
Come on,
Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane?
Yeah, my man Tyler Mane. My main man.
He's not a Liev Schreiber dude. He's Tyler Mane.
I'm a Tyler Mane man. Well, the truth is though that the perfect Sabretooth would really have qualities from both. He was a bit more of a dumb henchman, in the first movie, and he was much. He was more more cerebral but less brute in this. The movie don't mention. You could have taken them both to put them together and had a pretty good Sabretooth though. But that's. It was a good movie all around. Jennifer Lawrence was pretty good as Mystique. Maybe not the person who I would choose for Mystique, but she did well enough with the role. It brought back Magneto, the first Magneto, and Xavier with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. So that was nice. They didn't have a big part in the movie, which is fine, but they were there and they got to chime in at the end. It was just a good movie, good fun action movie with a few problems like Magneto's. I'm going back to problems on this one more than I thought I would, but Magneto's railroading, the whole thing where he basically is able to start controlling metal from inside the train without being there, and is able to do like surgical kind of stuff with it. I don't know. Yeah. That was a little weird, but it was a good movie. It was a damn good movie.
I'm guessing you're a big fan of the Quicksilver?
The Quicksilver scene, it was excellent. It was probably the best moment of the movie. I'm not a big Quicksilver fan. I didn't enjoy Quicksilver as much as other people did in this movie. I think that my favorite part of the movie was probably the Magneto with what's his actor's name?
Ian McKellen?
No, the newer Magneto.
Newer Magneto.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Wait a minute. Drawing a blank. I know what you're talking about.
Are we gonna have to
Fassbender. Michael
Fassbender.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, he does a pretty damn good Magneto.
Granted, I like Fassbender.
But yeah, it was a good X-Men movie, and it's kind of been a while. Except, First Class was decent, pretty good.
Yeah,
this was better.
I didn't dig on First Class as like everyone else did. I just felt it was
not so much other.
Pretty good. Like that was my note. Pretty good.
Better than 3, better than 2.
Just pretty good.
So, what was your
number 2?
Number 2.
And the final film on the list that we haven't talked about yet. And I think
we both have the same 2.
Might be because
we better have the same 2.
Number 2, The Raid 2.
Yep.
That's our vote.
The Raid 2.
It came down to my thinking, like, I liked The Raid 2 more than John Wick. Raid 2 was a better made film than John Wick.
It was.
But the question I kept asking myself was, how did you feel while you were watching it? And in The Raid 2, I felt impressed by it. Yeah. I was always, it's like, wow, this movie didn't have to be as intelligent as it is, or as violent as it is, or as impressive as it. But it just kept building and building and building to the mother of all last action scenes. There's John Wick can't even hold a candle to The Raid 2 as far as the action scenes go, but
couldn't even hold the wick of a candle.
But I kept asking but you kind of expected this movie to be good, because
I didn't expect it to be this good.
You didn't expect it to be this good, granted, but you did expect it to be good.
Like, sequels are not normally better than the original.
No,
that's just a thing. This was
like heads and tails above.
Yeah, when a good movie surprises you with how good it is.
Yeah,
that is a good feeling.
That is a great feeling. That is a great feeling, but it is not as great as going and not knowing anything and then completely being surprised by it. And I feel that's what ultimately, the only thing bad I can say about The Raid 2 is that maybe it's a little long, and it came out the same year as John Wick did. That's my only detriments up against the movie. But otherwise, you have not seen a movie this kick-ass, this visceral, and this completely, you almost feel like you have to walk with a limp after watching this movie.
This movie curb stomps you.
Yeah.
Straight up curb stomps you.
Yeah.
Stirb stomps you.
I'll say this about the movie. Of all the movies I have seen this year and loved, The Raid 2 is the only one that I purchased.
Oh, you actually purchased this?
I actually have The Raid 2.
Good for you. I should probably do that too.
Oh,
We'll
man.
come after Guardians.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us on our best of list.
Not done.
Oh, you're not done?
We missed my number 4.
You missed your number 4.
I don't know how we missed it, but we did.
Oh, shit.
What was yours, number 4? Did we miss any of yours, now that I come to think of it?
No, we didn't miss any of mine.
Okay,
the reason why we skipped my number 4 was because it was the Lego movie.
Yeah.
So sorry, but...
Somehow we missed my number 4. Don't worry.
No, hold on.
My number 4, Interstellar.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I was hoping...
So I was surprised I didn't make it on your list.
I think I had too many problems with Interstellar, and it didn't make it up. It didn't made up for it.
Not so stellar.
Not so stellar. I mean, I was expecting more than I got. I was actually, like I said, that was one of the few disappointing movies I had this year.
Really?
Yeah, well, that and Birdman, I felt very disappointed by.
I very much enjoyed Interstellar.
I can see how you can. I enjoyed bits of it, but I just feel like it wasn't nearly as smart as it was pretending to be. Especially
It wasn't.
No.
I mean, the thing is, I can appreciate it for trying not to be a presumptuous dick here. But just there's a lot of people who will learn from this movie. There are. You know, I mean, myself not so long ago. You know, before I started watching Cosmos and shit. But you know, there's a lot you can learn from this. It has a great message that kind of needs to be, you know, just completely pounded into people's heads apparently now. I can't have a problem with this movie. I just can't. Even though, you know, watching scientists explain simple, you know, theories, concepts to other scientists, simply for the sake of us understanding what's going on in the movie, is kind of funny to watch if you know what you're talking about. You know, like they're on their way to a black hole, and he's explaining to, was it Matt McConaughey?
Yeah, Matt.
How a black hole works, using a piece of paper as a model in a pen, punching a hole in it, you know. So he's like, okay, Matt, here's the circle, you know, like, it folds over like this. Then you can imagine this ship being the pen poking through the hole. And it was just like, they're telling him this shit now? Right now?
Are you getting this, audience?
Maybe you should have brought to speed earlier.
And you don't... You think Maddie McSee wouldn't know this?
And, you know, once again, it's nice to see him acting like an actor.
Acting like an actor, as opposed to acting like a hot dog.
You know, a little more, yeah, less like a hot dog and more like his parents didn't love him.
I'm just picturing Matty McConaughey in his Cole voice from True Detective as a hot dog. Now you don't understand is that the bun only surrounds half of us.
Oh, God.
There's a whole other dimension outside the bun.
Now, if the bun surrounds the whole of us, then it is clearly a corn dog.
Well, it was only a matter of time before we actually get to probably the part of the list everyone wants us to talk about, the top 10 worst films that we saw.
Top 10 worst films
in 2014.
Of 2014.
God.
Okay.
Let's start off with our dishonorable mentions. I only have one dishonorable mention, and that was Winter's Tale.
I never got to see Winter's Tale. I wish I had.
Winter's Tale is a lot more dull than people are willing to admit. There's a lot not happening, and there's some actually good acting going on. Colin Farrell and I forgot the actress's name, had really great chemistry.
I see. It was the release mania of it.
Yeah.
People were like expecting something good, and they got something bad, and
no, more than just that though. It wasn't
hilariously bad, or at least it seemed so.
It was weirdly bad. Yeah. It was just fucking weird. And talk about another movie where Russell Crowe had to prove that he could act again.
And I'm guessing that this movie was an honorable mention because it had redeemed itself somewhat with a comedy.
Yeah, you could laugh at it. You can laugh at it. There's a lot of silly scenes.
Otherwise, it would have made it on.
Yeah, I mean, if you could, like, if it wasn't silly, and if it wasn't for the fact that, holy fuck, I forgot Jennifer Connelly was in that too. Jesus fuck.
Wow, that's right, she was.
Yeah, it's like, wow, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, I remember laughing at the film because of how silly it was being, and how the story made absolutely no fucking sense.
You sold it to me after you saw it. I mean, It sounded like the most funny shit that I've never seen.
It was at the time, but when you that's the thing about
it happens.
Yeah, that's the thing with movies, like good bad movies, is that usually if you're still beaming about the high of seeing this ridiculous film.
So it's a good thing we waited a little bit after the last movie we saw.
Yeah. So that's why when you're still high off the energy you get from the laughter, but it goes crashing down, and that's what happened with me in Winter's Tale.
Sometimes it's hard to compare to other things when it's the first thing in your mind.
Yeah. So it's, Winter's Tale, still a bad film, still pretty bad, still pretty laughably bad, but not nearly as deserving as much shit as it's being slung at from other people.
Okay.
So
I'll take your word for it.
What about dishonorable mentions for you?
Dishonorable mentions for me would be... Under the Skin was a dishonorable mention for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think that it was an honorable mention for you.
Yeah.
I think that this is kind of where your dishonorable and my honorable kind of come to meet each other. Because I think we had the same reasons for putting it on an honorable or dishonorable list.
Mm-hmm.
My thing about Under the Skin, God, I think it was basically the same thing as you. Except that for me, it was the reason. For me, it was just it's apples to oranges. The reason it didn't make it on for me was because it was too much of a good movie to be a bad movie, and for you, it's like it was too much of a bad movie to be a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We both came to the same place in the end, really.
But we do come to an agreement that it is silly. It is a very, very silly film, and
we can save time because we already explained.
Yeah, but it's. So, any other dishonorable mentions for you?
Yeah. I actually have more dishonorables.
Of course, we saw a lot of bad films.
Yeah. The Purge.
Ooh. I found that was more bland than bad.
Yeah, that's why it's a dishonorable. It didn't quite make it. The Purge Anarchy.
Purging. And
adequately bad film. Birdman.
Really?
Birdman is dishonorable.
Oh, yeah. I felt, like I said, probably my most disappointing film of 2014, but that in of itself wasn't enough for me to qualify that as a bad film.
Yeah.
It was just that it wasn't able to meet expectations.
I was legitimately enjoying the movie up till somewhere after the halfway point.
And
then, I think it was about the time when he starts flying around. Not in the Birdman outfit, just flying around, that I realized, well, we'd seen the best. And all that waiting was not really going to take us anywhere. So that was a disappointing thing. But I think in hindsight, if I were to see this again, I would take it as a comedy. And it should have been a comedy. That's my thought.
Any other dishonorable
Yes, Dracula Untold.
Wow, it didn't make your list?
It didn't make my list.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I actually thought about putting it on my list proper, but...
Yep.
But I think I enjoyed the film, but by proxy. Through you. I think I loved this film...
Because I hated it so much.
Yeah. That's kind of like my troll moment.
The thing is, I didn't hate it enough. It wasn't bad enough to hate as much as I thought it would.
That and Charles Dance is always great.
Charles Dance is... I didn't even realize it was him until near the end when he comes out into the light and you see him better. They put some good makeup on him.
Yeah.
But that was just like, fuck. That's Papa.
That's Papa Lannister.
Lannister.
Yeah.
He's great.
It's the bad guy from...
It's the bad guy from Last Action Hero.
From Last Action Hero, yeah.
I'm murdering someone in cold blood. But yeah, that also kind
I'll have Dracula in one... And he actually did. He got Dracula.
He did get Dracula. It took him some time, but he got him. But you know what? The sad thing is that if this was done well, it would have been amazing to see them go from the 1400s all the way to the Jonathan Harker and Mina Harker time in the normally the early 1900s, but in this case modern or contemporary
Because
America.
that works.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been it's a very interesting idea if it was done really, really well, but it wasn't. And it wasn't disappointing enough to put on my list.
You had no expectations going into the movie. You had low expectations.
It was just, the term we use is that it was not unnecessary, but it was a completely... Pointless, thank you. It was a completely pointless film.
I would agree with you on that regard. There was just not enough memorably silly moments. There was the bat fist. I mean, at least that was
stupid.
At least that was stupid, but there was no other stupid moments like that. Just a lot of nothing.
It was just a boring kind of movie. It was...
Didn't have the good grace to be even enjoyably bad. Any other dishonorable mentions?
Yeah, because if it was the right kind of bad for a vampire film, I would have been walking out probably.
Oh, yeah, I would have like sunk my nails.
I would have got my panties in a bunch.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Yeah.
Starting with top.
Or that's all your dishonorable.
That's all my dishonorable. So
let's start it out. I'll start it off with my number 10. Maleficent. I saw this movie.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah.
I saw this movie back in when I went to Scotland with my then girlfriend. We watched. No, we're still on good terms. So don't know that. But I watched the movie in Scotland. Very good theater, pleasant theater going experience. But that movie, it's like watching a train wreck in the middle of an opera house. That's what. The only way I can describe it. This was such a... I hate this movie, I think, more than I logically should. Because it was such a...
I'll agree with that.
It was such like a 10th grade movie. Like, it was trying so hard
It was fan fiction.
Yeah, like, it was trying so hard to be, like, edgy. And it was trying so hard to be,
trying
to
be the Wicked of... Well, trying to be Wicked, I guess. I haven't seen it.
But, like, this was the idea was that it was trying to say, like, no, you don't know the true story. This is how it really happened. It was the king. The king was really just a dick.
He was a rapist.
I love the fact that they framed the scene. They framed the scene where a Disney film. They framed the scene where he rips off Maleficent's wings and
After drugging her.
No, while she was sleeping.
Oh, that's what it was. I thought he gave her something that knocked her out.
I don't quite remember, but they framed it like a date rape scene. It was like awful.
Yeah.
It was just this awful movie, and more to the point, the fairies were the most annoying, completely useless piece of shit characters.
Oh yeah.
I have seen in quite some time, and the Maleficent's plan makes absolutely no sense. Then
there's that scene where she's dragging the guy along.
Oh yeah, like he literally, because Prince Charming is absolutely pointless in this movie. Talk about pointless characters. And more to the point is, like, how did Maleficent come to like Sleeping Beauty? It makes no sense, and it's like, why would she save the baby if she cursed the baby to
I couldn't hate this movie as much as I would have seen it with you or on my own. I was seeing it with my aunt, so
So you were kind of forced to that was a great movie.
Yeah. A little bit.
Well, but does Maleficent arrive on your list anywhere?
It's not on my list.
Wow.
It's not even on my dishonorable.
Wow. What saved this movie for you in that case?
The realization that Angelina Jolie really should have played Catwoman instead of Anne Hathaway.
So really nothing to the film's credit.
Nothing to the film's credit. Well, yeah, just watching it, I realized, she should have been Catwoman. Following Michelle Pfeiffer, she would have been a good choice.
Michelle Pfeiffer? Yeah.
Pfeiffer?
Yeah, Pfeiffer. No, I know it's Pfeiffer. I just like say Pfeiffer, all right?
Just like we will still say Ralph Fiennes.
I called him Ray Fiennes because,
Or sorry.
Ray...
If you're watching Ralph Fiennes.
It's... all right, like, if he wants to say it's pronounced Rafe, that's fine. But it's Ralph to every one of us. So... All right, so if Maleficent's not on your list, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Transformers.
Oh. Yeah. I thought you'd be hating that movie more.
I thought I would too.
Ah.
But you know what? This was the one Transformers that did not have Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox.
Yeah, I'll give them that, but it's all...
I thought it would be better than it was, though. Just because of that, I thought it would be better, and that was my mistake.
Really? You thought a Michael
I
Bay
know.
Transformers movie would be kind of
Well,
good?
you know, not kind of good, but better. Well, you know what? It was better. It was better. But
that's debatable.
hardly at all.
That's debatable because it's still...
I kind of wish now they just kept them both in it, because then I could hate it more. Or at least, validate my hatred of it.
Oddly enough, my Transformers is number 4 on my list.
Wow.
It kind of came down to a number of factors. One, it was the longest Transformers movie. It was still punishing in length.
Yeah.
It was still... I mean, they might have toned down some of the racial caricatures. Except, the Japanese samurai robot.
And then there was freaking
John Goodman.
John Goodman in...
with the beard and cigar. That's actually just a bullet casing.
John Goodman bot.
I mean, I keep harping on this, but Transformers 2 is horrible, but at the very least there's just a lot of what the fuck were they thinking moments. And you could say the same.
So when you take Transformers movies and you take out those moments like the giant robot scrotum or the racial archetypes,
Yeah.
when you take those out
Or
of
you
a
take
Transformers movie, what are you left with?
A lot of boring action scenes.
And all the Shia LaBeoufing.
And all the Shia LaBeouf. Wait.
And the Mega Foxing.
And all that. And
you're just left with a big blur of silver metal.
Yeah.
Of CG metal just flying around. And
I mean, I'm not here to defend racist portrayals or anything like that, but at the very least, something sticks out inside your head. And Transformers was just a lot of bland, long grinding of gears.
And it didn't stick out for me as a bad movie so much in that way because of that. It was so bland and inconsequential, well, just completely useless.
I can't fully agree with that. I think
Fodder for the fire.
I mean, like, being bored as you are in this movie should not be like that. You shouldn't grade that less than being angered. I mean, like, it's still negative feelings. Being bored is not a good thing for a film to do.
There were films that bored me worse, though.
But they weren't nearly as long. That's what it kind of came down to. If this was like a punishment of a movie, I feel like that's what kind of won out for me as far as like placing it as whereas I did.
Sure.
So that ruins my number 4, but we at least come to agreement that it's not a good movie.
Doesn't ruin your number 4.
No, but kind of ruins the reveal. Because I think we both knew that Transformers was going to wind up somewhere on the list.
Yeah.
But I am surprised it wound up so low. Because I think we came out of that film like shell-shocked. Just like how long and that movie was. But regardless, number 9, As Above, So Below. I hate found footage movies. I really, really fucking hate found footage movies. Those are... movies like this are the reason why. I hate all the gimmicks that were used. I hate how it tried to be scary, but... jump scares. That's the best you got. Yeah. And it's like there were worse movies that were dumber and that weren't made nearly as good or as above so below, but that just kept coming back to like this movie was an utter waste of time. And I think that's what I took away from the movie.
It was a complete waste of like 20 feet of set.
Yeah, because we kept talking about it. It just felt like it was reusing the same set over and over again. I defy you to write and film a more pointless movie than As Above, So Below. I mean, when we found out that the same guy who directed this also directed Devil, a lot of things started clicking. It's like, wow, there's the same dumbassness that permeated Devil.
Devil was way better than this. And they only used an elevator. I gotta say, they certainly know how to conserve space. They go from aim for an aim,
Like
aim for...
Roger Corman would be proud.
They pinched every goddamn thing on this.
So, As Above, So Below, did it wind up on your list?
Oh yeah, it did.
Okay, good.
For me, it was number 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was a piece of shit. Horror films have been shit for a long time now. But As Above, So it was just... That was just god-awful. God-awful bad. Pure unadulterated bad.
Terabad.
Terabad.
I think that's really all that's left to say about that fucking fart of a movie. That nothing of a movie.
Listen to people who apparently liked it.
Oh, God, you know people who liked it?
Well, you know, the kind of people who, when I was talking about it with him, he said, well, you know, I was like, I love this movie. It was so cool that, you know, they used people's parts of their lives that they experienced and brought it into hell to torment them. And I was like, you know, I explained to him all those reasons that it was stupid, like, you know, the fact that they weren't actually using them. They were just plopping them in the middle of the movie, like, and just having them run into it like a brick wall. And then he's like, you know what? It actually wasn't a very good movie.
You wore him down.
I didn't have to try very hard. It's like, but once you start to think about it, yeah, that's pretty shit.
What's number 9 for you?
Number 9 for me was RoboCop.
Oh, wow. I thought you'd hate that movie more than just number 9. That's where the fun is. Like seeing the top spot, what barely made the list at all.
RoboCop.
Robert Cop.
Robert Cop.
That's
Amazing Spider-Man and Robert Cop and all those wonderful toys.
Yeah, Bob Cop here is not going to be. I'm not going to dignify that movie by calling it RoboCop. We'll call it Bob Cop.
Yeah. Bob Cop.
So Bobbert Cop here.
I don't know. You know, it could have made higher on my list, but didn't.
What? All right. What saved it from being higher?
I think the only thing that saved it from being higher was the movies that came before it on my list. And that's it. That's all I can say about
like
that.
the only reason why RoboCop isn't higher on my list, which is coming in at an amazing number 3.
It's lucky it didn't make it higher on my list because it's lucky. It's fortunate because, you know, Peter Weller.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to me. Spirit animal and all that. And
but
desecrating something that he has done.
But like I said, the only reason why Bobbert Cop, why it's
Robert
not
Cop.
Bob Cop.
Bob Cop.
Bob Cop's number 3 on my list, and the only reason why he wasn't higher was because technically RoboCop 3 was worse than Bob Cop. But Bob Cop, I think, does more damage.
Is that was number 3 for you?
Yeah, it was number 3. Bob Cop is... yeah, Bob Cop to me...
Man, you really fucking hated that.
I did, because I felt it did more damage to the RoboCop brand than RoboCop 3 did, but RoboCop 3 was a worse movie.
It didn't put me in complete agony. Put that one on the box.
It did, it didn't put me in complete agony.
I wish Gary Oldman was not a part of that filth, though.
Or Michael Keaton.
The fact, yeah, or Michael Keaton. The fact that it's besmirched them just for being in it, and that you know, you can't. To its credit, it's hard to do better than Peter Weller. You know, but they didn't even come close.
And
they didn't touch that man's majesty. It was
like this barely there guy. Just I can't think of the only person I can think of with less fucking charisma than whoever played Bob Cop is Miles Teller, that pudgy dude from That Awkward Moment. God, I hate that guy.
Get to that.
We'll get to Miles Teller, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Bob Cop number 3, Bob Cop number 9 for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8 on my list. This is gonna piss you off, I think, a little.
All right.
Tammy. Oh, that wince was palpable.
Okay, well, explain yourself.
Tammy, like any other bad comedy, is
Very
just a
good.
Tammy, like any other bad comedy, is just a miserable experience to sit through.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just filled. Tammy is just filled like wall to wall with like, what the fuck are they doing in this movie?
It gets hard to explain these things because your literal
Kathy Bates.
Your literal critique of these movies after seeing them is it was shit. It was shit.
You know, like it's.
I don't want to explain the different shades of shit. It's shit.
Well, this was particular. This shit is particular in that it was not funny, and as a comedy, that's a huge sin. I mean, you can't really complain that one of the like Bob Cop wasn't funny.
This is a theme, I'll just say, for movies that were bad, comedies that weren't funny. This has been a thing this year.
I think it's a thing every year. There's a lot of not funny comedies, but
Well, you know what? I didn't see them though. This time I had to see them in theaters. I am painfully aware now. So how did this make it so low on your list?
I think for the same reason why Bob Cop only was number 9 on your list. Because I found the other films offensive.
Because the original Tammy was...
Yeah, the original Tammy was a masterpiece. Peter Weller was great as Tammy. I can imagine Peter Weller just putting on like a Melissa McCarthy outfit like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall.
No one must know.
But no, it's just like I hated Tammy. I found it was a piece of shit because the character of Tammy was just awful.
Yeah.
It's just fucking terrible, and good things kept happening to her when they really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I also hate this movie because because of what it does to actresses that I like Kathy Bates. What the fuck are you doing here in this movie?
Yeah.
And fucking Susan Sarandon. What the fuck are you doing in this movie? Oh God, I'm forgetting her name. God, she used to be on The West Wing. But fucking Tammy's mom, that actress. I forgot her name. Allison Jennings. Allison Jennings, what the fuck are you doing in this movie? And it's just this parade of like, what the hell?
Oh, and her grandma.
No,
Or, sorry, her.
Sandra. Like I said, Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, Susan Sarandon.
But I hated the movie for like basically like you were wasting all this fucking talent, but I don't hate it nearly as much as the other films on my list. I mean, like I'll put it to you this way: if Tammy was as long as Transformers, I think I would have put it up way, way higher than Transformers.
You know what I'm noticing is a trend where I'm able to endure longer films that are more boring, whereas you'll take the hit if you can get out of the theater earlier.
Yeah, like
and whereas Gavin has absolutely no patience for these movies at all. I guess that makes him the better of us.
For full transparency's sake, we actually told the story about a walk among the tombstones.
Among the tombstones. Look, there's a tombstone.
So I'm guessing Tammy wound up on your list, but where did it wind up?
Tammy for me was number 4.
Oh,
that's how much I enjoyed that movie. I got angry. The beast stirred for that one. Every time I had to see her throw a burger at someone and listen to the entire theater erupt in laughter
at burger throwing.
How many times did they do that? So many times. Like this is comedy these days. I'm so old. Licking a burger patty and putting it back on the burger is the height of comedy these days.
Oh God! And what was it? The 4th of July picnic scene that just completely like there was a scene where Susan Sarandon flashes her tits at a 4th of July picnic. You don't see them.
Thank you. Well, maybe at one time, yeah. I don't know about now.
No, don't be like that.
Don't be a hater.
Don't be a hater. And the mood of the the mood of the scene, it was like you couldn't tell if you were supposed to be laughing or you were supposed to be appalled. I have no idea. The movie was just didn't know what it wanted to be, and they had no and it had no way of making Melissa McCarthy like likable. Like the fact that she found some poor hapless dude to like Tammy. I think it's just her real life husband. I think it's a real life husband who played that.
Really?
I could be wrong, but like I'm not here to. All right. I'm not here to harp on, like the whole like who likes fat chicks? No one. No, it's the fact that she's like this frumpy, completely unlikable. Like, what does this man see in her?
And also, they use references for out of nowhere for no reason, just other than the fact that they're popular, which is another trope of comedies this year. Or, sorry, all the years that I haven't been watching these piece of shit films that apparently, they start making fun of the way what's the guy who sings Midnight Rider?
Oh,
I don't remember, but they start making fun of the way Rider. One more dollar, and then they, of course, segue to. I was like, they're gonna segue to the goddamn song itself, and they did. They segued right into that motherfucking song, and putting in the thrift shop song. What was the you'd think she was probably in a thrift shop, or maybe she was doing something related to putting on clothes or anything, right? But no, she's just going out to rob a store. She has a paper bag on her head. The big picture on the front of the movie. And they just start playing Thrift Shop because people like that song.
I mean, there's worse things a movie can do than just play a popular song at the time and over a non-real corresponding scene, but it just kind of speaks to the laziness of this movie. Yeah. It's just the overall laziness. But okay, so if
sorry, but we should mention that the actress is nothing like the character. I'm sure.
I hope.
I mean, I've seen her do roles I've seen her do good acting, and that's another thing that pisses me off is pigeonholing her in this movie.
Melissa McCarthy, stop doing this.
Yeah, don't do that. You're better than this.
I wouldn't say you're better than this, but this is beneath you.
Yeah.
So what is your number 8 then? If not Tammy.
TMNT.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
Huh. Because that's my number 5.
I liked it less than Transformers.
I think Transformers was the worst movie. I really do, because at least TMNT was 90 minutes. It was about 100 minutes. Not 2.5 goddamn hours. Now, again, this kind of comes down to like, what would I rather?
Wait, it was 90. Was it really 90 minutes?
It was about 100 minutes. It was about 100 minutes.
Wow, I felt longer than that.
It felt long, but it only was about 100 minutes. I mean, like, I would argue that TMNT was stupider than Transformers 4. It was definitely as annoying, but
the turtles were annoying.
Oh yeah, the turtles were goddamn annoying. And the movie made absolutely no sense, and
the Shredder was stupid and boring.
You don't even I can't even remember what the Shredder did. I mean, but I think that's what ultimately won out as far as like the battle between Transformers 4 and TMNT.
Yeah,
was that I at least remember some things in TMNT. At least I remember.
I remember Megan Fox's butt.
Yeah,
that was there.
Of course, that was there, and I just remember like bits and pieces. I can't even remember dialogue. I can't even remember the dialogue.
That was actually kind of a terrible one. You take those. What are you doing, Megan Fox? Oh, you take those pictures. Yes, you keep taking those pictures. Tripping over herself. It was terrible. Oh man, it's awkward, terrible.
I find. That's the word. I find this movie more awkward than horrifyingly bad.
And with apparently something we missed when we did the review of it, that all of the Ninja Turtles were black. We didn't really mention that in our review, I guess. But it was someone was talking to me about that later, and I was like, wow, that really was obvious. How did I miss?
Well, I think we try. I think it was sort of like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, we just didn't. Brains didn't want to go there. So.
Yeah, so we just didn't. And
But as I was reminded, it was a thing.
I mean, like I keep coming back to that same question. Like, what would you rather sit through again if you had to sit through again? And I'd rather sit through TMNT because at least the stupid dumb references like the bringing back Holla Back Girl.
Oh God.
They brought that shit back. It's like, you know what? At least I memorized that. I can't even tell you what fucking happened in Transformers 4 if you held a gun to my head. But that's not to the TMNT's credit. The TMNT was just a stupid, dumb movie that was meant for kids, but no kid would. Like, this is not meant for kids.
Well, you know what it probably is I was more of a Ninja Turtle kid than a Transformer kid.
I wasn't really either. Those were kind of like... I exist in the weird space where I was too young to watch the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s cartoon. And
me too. I just happened to come across the Ninja Turtle scene.
But so I hold no nostalgic sway over Transformers or TMNT, so it doesn't really matter to me. Like I was actually kind of hoping TMNT would be worse.
Actually, me too. I see. Well, it was a thing when I was like 3-4 years old. That's where it stopped for me. I'm weird in that way, but yeah, I was I had that sadistic hope that we'd get to watch this movie stew in its shell and piss everyone off who's a Turtle fan.
It's like, and it did piss off Turtle fans, but not deservedly so.
Yeah, it didn't take it to the Turtle Club. It wasn't that bad.
I mean, like, when you think about, like, the worst Turtle films, and there are quite a few shit burgers.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I can't even call this the worst.
This wasn't even the worst of them.
No, this was the dumbest, maybe?
There was no help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
No, there's no...
Yeah.
There's no, like, moment where you just, like, that is fucking unforgivable. There's a lot of general stupidity and a lot of general boringness and a lot of general, like... Oh God, please just end.
Maybe that's why it made it so high on my list, because it wasn't bad enough to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
But I still, it comes down to a question of what I'd rather sit through, and
yes,
and that's what I came up with.
So next
is my number 7, a film that I'm surprised is not higher because of how much I fucking hate this movie, Lucy.
Really?
Yes, Lucy. I cannot stand a movie that thinks it's smarter than it is.
Wasn't on my list.
Not on your list.
Nope.
God, damn it! I just fucking hate this completely, like, illogical. There's no tension whatsoever in this film because Lucy's a god. She's Brad Pitt. Scarlett Johansson.
It's my hard-on for Scarlett Johansson that I think got me through this movie.
You know what? That's at least understandable reasoning, but at a certain point, the plot of a movie has to, like, grab you by the brain and just, like, dunk you into a fucking toilet and then flush the handle. Press down the
flush the handle. That actually would do it.
Yeah, and press down the handle.
I like that.
Yeah, like this movie gave my brain a swirly.
So much that it broke off that handle and just
flushed it down
flushed it down with the flush, so that you can't ever flush it again.
This movie gave my brain a swirly. This completely like I said, illogical, dumb, and infuriating movie. It's just, that's what the word is. It's infuriating. This, like,
it was a very infuriating movie because it was stupid.
But Scarlett Johansson is like such. I think this movie really brought to light just how much Scarlett Johansson is limited as an actress.
Yeah,
she's like, even when she's trying to be emotional, she just kind of detached. Like, there's no presence to her. There's no presence, no humanity. Yeah. And, like, she keeps finding roles where that works.
She keeps doing that, and I'm sorry, but if you're always going for roles like that, when she's a big actress.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that she can get roles that are different.
Mm-hmm,
but she doesn't. So If you typecast yourself,
stay within your comfort zone. The comfort zone of, like, cold comfort, as it were. But again, I keep coming back to like how much this movie pissed me off on an intellectual scale. And I feel that if the only reason why the only way of saving Lucy from being on this list is if we had seen that Transcendence movie with Johnny Depp. I think that would piss me off way the fuck more.
Oh, that Transcendence movie that neither of us saw.
Yeah,
That
that
could make it to 1 for me. Yeah. I
imagine like there's like we'll follow that movie under
just because my bitterness.
Most thankful bullet dodged.
Yeah.
So Lucy did not make your list at all.
It didn't make my list.
So what was your number 7?
My number 7 was Jersey Boys.
Oh wow! I was surprised I left that one off.
Yeah.
Because I fucking hate Frankie Valli. I hate Frankie Valli's voice.
I don't have any hatred of Frankie Valli. I don't really listen to him but this is just a boring, long movie that
pointless too.
Yeah, putting all of this dramatic effect on
something that's not really all
the 4
that
seasons,
dramatic.
Which I never really considered to be a very big deal.
I mean, they had a string of number 1 hits, and that's fine. But the story of the band is just like we had some fights.
Got rough in there. Italian.
Just like
Christopher Walken's there too.
Like complete waste of your Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
It's like, don't go in my bathroom. You piss in the sink. I hate that.
That was funny.
It's like, stay away from my towels.
Yeah, he was like, he pisses in the sink, man. Stay out of my bathroom. Don't use my towels.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Was that like, did Arnold Schwarzenegger eat Christopher Walken?
I don't know. I've done better.
I can't imagine anyone doing worse.
Fuck you.
Sorry, my Walken's not great either. It's not even passable, but...
No, my Walken's usually actually pretty good. I do say so myself. And fuck you. I don't know what I'm...
Wow.
Shut up.
But I wanted to put Jersey Boys on my list. I really, really did.
Yeah.
But it all came down to, like, I hate Frankie Valli more than the movie. If that makes any sense. So a movie about Frankie Valli is already kind of,
They didn't portray him as badly as they could have. I don't know. He was a worse person than they... He's responsible for releasing untold terrors.
A sonic terrors into our reality, as I described it.
Yeah.
But again, I think how my feelings in the film was that wasn't of anger, but rather just of boredom, and just like, why am I even sitting through this? And I think that general malaise just kind of made me feel like, these are 10 films I hate.
Yeah.
This is just a film that, like, outside of its subject matter, I'm just like, it's just like boring. So, I mean, boring's not good. I certainly put films that were boring, but it was boring compounded with anger and with pain. I mean, it can't just be boring. It has to be unbelievably boring in order for me to put it on this list. And that's certainly true for some of these coming up. But number 7, Jersey Boys?
Jazzy Boys, yeah.
Jazzy Boys. Yeah, y'all Jazzy Boys. Number 6. I'm going to shock you that it's not higher than it is, but I'm going to shock you. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The Amazing Spider-Man made it onto your list?
Yeah, I hated the fucking Amazing Spider-Man.
The reason it's not on there for me is because of the pure brilliance of Dane DeHaan. Are you ready to do it one more time?
No, I forgot.
Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan. Everybody.
Dane DeHaan. No one rocks that Corlock. No one. I forgot. No one rocks the Orlock coat like Dane DeHaan. No one drops a beat like Dane DeHaan. Cooler than the Fonz? Dane DeHaan.
But my wife just left me.
Dane DeHaan.
But I can't find my pants.
Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan.
Everybody, Dane DeHaan. But Dane DeHaan aside, but this movie, I kind of really, it was just on the verge of completely pissing me off. Mainly because of how many stupid decisions.
Yeah.
There was like stupid decision after stupid decision after stupid decision, and I would feel that you would put this movie on this list just for Andrew Garfield's mug alone, because of how that. It feels like you have Andrew Garfield's face on like your toilet paper in your bathroom.
Oh yeah. Really, that's pretty accurate. My target for darts, it's on my toilet paper, it's on my doormat. Anything that anytime I can besmirch that guy's face, it's there.
And I like the fact that Andrew Garfield approached the character as, like a real do-gooder, and and I'm glad that he tries to like hide the fact that he's a dork. Like Peter Parker's supposedly, is like a nerdy dork, because that caricature of Peter Parker is just so antiquated, and it just doesn't ring true anymore.
You couldn't make a caricature of this guy.
But
the way he looks in this movie is so stupid.
The
hair is so stupid. It's so stupid, so over the top. I can't believe it.
Well,
what the fuck were they thinking when they did his hair? Who is his hairstylist? Like, they could have shaved his head, and he would be more. He would seem more like the character than with this stupid pompadour-esque flip top, like a pillow you could make with this hair. And then the nose. The nose.
But still not on the worst of list. Still not on the worst of list.
Like the Whoville nose and the... What the fuck is this guy? What is this person?
This is like of all the movies on my list.
Character of a person. What?
Of all the movies,
where were we?
Of all the movies on this list, this is the one I want to punch the most.
Dane DeHaan saved it for me.
Dane DeHaan is a presence of this movie, and without Dane DeHaan, this would have been tunneled down further. But he couldn't.
I also love the part where he drops her. Apparently, that's true to the comic.
Yeah. True, like that's how Gwen Stacy dies. Although not in such a manner.
I was so glad to see her die.
Yeah, me too.
So glad.
Because I fucking hated Emma Stone in this movie.
So you know what? There was some gratification in that film for me. So
I hate Emma Stone in this movie. I hate her and his interaction is just so saccharinely sweet, like lovey-dovey. Like, you gotta stop with that smile. Like, fuck. Shut up!
It's like, the line was something like, we're gonna have to lay down some guidelines for this relationship. Like that smile, you're gonna have to stop it. Because it's so cute.
Fuck, I just want to.
You were this close to, having a noodle between them.
Like I said, I just wanted to punch this movie. This is the movie on the list. Like, if you could only punch one movie on this list, it's like fucking Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I want to punch that.
I want to punch that guy.
just a good old-fashioned, just like smackaroo right on the jaw.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like the weird ass choices for characters like Electro and the Green Goblin. Like,
oh god, in his performance as Electro,
they hate me. They don't trust me. This weird.
That was bad enough as it was, but before he becomes the villain was even worse.
Oh god!
Not just the bald comb over thing, but the whole thing was like the awkward. I'm gonna throw that out there again. Awkward.
Like Jamie Foxx as a nerd. No, like this totally ripped, buff dude. Like what black nerd looks like Jamie Foxx?
It was the contrivance of contrivances.
Yeah, it's like, and they didn't even bother to, like, they didn't do like a whole winking nod like the Sam Raimi films. And like, there was always an air of like, we are aware that this is, a comic book movie, and we're, and that was fine enough as it is, but like here it's
here's a rap. It becomes Electro. He hears a rap song.
It wasn't rap. I think it was like a dubstep, almost like a dubstep song.
It was like a rap though. It was like
they hate me. They don't trust me. Oh, God.
They lied to us. They disrespected us.
And still not on your list. All because of Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan was brilliant. Thank you.
Dane DeHaan, look out for Dane DeHaan.
Yeah.
He may be the next Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
As long as he has.
He
that.
was
Weird. He's like he was Steve Buscemi and Nicolas Cage.
And a little bit of, oh God, what's his name?
Things he's been in.
Not Jack Nicholson, but
oh,
you know what I'm talking.
Oh yeah, Christian Slater.
Christian Slater, thank you.
Just a bit of
a little bit of Christian Slater.
Just a bit of Christian Slater. Hey, Gwen, how you doing?
There's this scene, if you didn't see our review, where he's wearing the Count Orlok cloak.
And he's just waiting in an elevator for...
It's just, you only see Emma Stone at first, just in the elevator, and then suddenly she just kind of goes, huh? And then it pans over, and there he is, just kind of...
Hey, how you doing?
Ride any elevators lately?
Just... Still not on your list, but how dare you? I mean, Dane DeHaan is great, but he can't.
He saved it barely. For me. Well, he didn't save it. He saved it from my list barely.
No, not even a dishonorable mention.
Not even a dishonorable mention.
All right. Okay, what's your number 6? I think
you can do the book. Do the book of life.
Book of Life. Wow.
Yeah.
Not on my Not on my list.
Not on your life either.
It's like
how did that? Oh, right. You enjoyed it a little bit.
I enjoyed it because of the what the fuckness.
Okay, I will admit there were a few pretty parts. They were kind of lost amongst the tackiness of it.
Or the. Come on! How could you hate on a mariachi version of Creep?
That was the only good part of the movie, and it was good because it was a bad part of the movie.
But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
He didn't get to the she's
running out.
Oh wait, I think he did, but they didn't have her actually run out the door. I think was what.
No. She did go out the door, but he didn't sing about it.
Oh, okay. Damn it!
I know, right?
Run!
But
that was pretty good. The rest of it was shit.
Not helped by the fact of that asshole who kept pulling the fire alarm.
And it was the worst movie-going experience I've ever had in my life.
But that's not exactly the movie's fault.
Well, you see, it wasn't... No! But you know what? It just so happened to be that movie that I had to watch another 5 minutes of a scene that I didn't give a half of a shit about. It was...
Yeah, I forgot. They made that movie longer.
They made that movie. 5 minutes was way longer than that movie needed to be. Total.
But...
Yeah, someone pulled the damn fire alarm, right?
Yeah.
And we came back, and they pulled it again.
And
we had to go out again. And then we came back, and you know what they did?
They pulled it again.
No, they didn't pull it again. The guy rewinded it.
No, yeah.
The guy was kind enough to rewind that movie for us. The only thing is, he didn't rewind it back to the part that we missed. He rewound it to the point where we got back into the theater. We got back in the theater, watched it for 5 minutes, then he decided to rewind it. 5 minutes back when we got in. Son of a bitch. That motherfucker, I should have dragged that guy out of there and made him watch that movie with us. So I know, obviously, he wasn't watching.
Oh, man. Or you might have taken that suicide pill that all projectionists are given.
I love my job.
But specific moments of the movie that...
Yeah, he only does Book of Life. Poor motherfucker. I guess I should have some sympathy. He's probably drunk as hell.
But specific parts of the movie, though, that pissed you off.
Part pissed me off the most. Let's just say that they did it. This was the movie that Mexicans had. This was their movie. And if I were Mexican, well, I'd go back to Mexico, I guess, because I don't want to live in a country that makes movies like this about my culture. Fuck that shit. This was terrible. I felt bad, and I'm not Mexican.
This movie's making you speechless.
The worst part of it, the most degrading part of it, is the point at which they get to the scene where they have a they have a running thing throughout the whole movie. That I've explained this in the review, but I'll do it again, where he doesn't want to kill the bull. He's a
bullfighter.
Yeah.
You don't want to kill the bull.
He's a matador. He doesn't kill the bull, but that's like a tradition. You know, it has been for hundreds of years. And at the end of the film, the big boss fight is a giant bull that is summoned from the
bulls that his family has killed over the years.
Yeah. It's all of the bulls. His challenge: you must face all the bulls that your family has killed. It's like some kind of hell dimension, and they all form a giant bull. And what does he do to defeat it? He sings it a song, apologizing for the centuries that his family has been killing the bull. He is apologizing for the entirety of his frickin' culture in this movie about their culture. And let's not go into the fact that it's a Spanish thing and this is Day of the Dead. What the fuck? It was so embarrassing and so horrible. The whole movie about this whole thing about Spanish culture was just about apologizing for it. It was horrible.
It would be like the equivalent of a Dominican Republic movie and about cockfighting and then apologizing for cockfighting.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean...
a good example right there.
I certainly understand why you apologize for it. It's
I guess they don't do it anymore.
No, the Dominican Republic?
No, I mean,
you mean like
bullfighting? They don't kill the bull anymore, I guess? I don't know.
I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure. But, God, that was not the way they should have gone with this. They could have put it in there somewhere. But this whole movie was basically about that.
Yeah.
And that's just like a slap in the face. Fuck that movie. Let's move on.
All right. Like I said, number 5 was TMNT. What's your number 5?
My as above, so below.
Above, so below.
Yeah.
So
moving on.
So number 4 was Transformers.
My number 4 was Tammy.
Okay. Number 3 was Bob Cop for me. So what's your number 3?
That Awkward Moment.
Holy crap! That Awkward Moment was number 3 for you.
Yes.
That's not even on my list.
How is that? How is that not on your list?
How? Because I've seen way worse movies with Miles Teller in it, and I think,
haven't.
Yes, you have.
Oh well, yes. No giveaways.
No giveaways. I'm pretty sure we know what our number 1's going to be if you've been following the show.
But these are the only ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I think I guess That Awkward Moment didn't just piss me off as much as the other bad comedies we saw. Although they were bad, and it was uninspired, and it was very cheap. But outside of that, it's just kind of like a nothing movie to me.
Okay, it was worse than movies on your list, but it just wasn't significant.
Yeah, just wasn't. It didn't offend me.
Okay. That Awkward Moment offended me because I'm not accustomed to watching comedies that have no humor in them at all.
It's like I remember the one bit about like for some reason or another, Zac Efron, was his name Zac Efron?
Yeah, that's right.
Zac Efron makes this big deal about Miles Teller being on are you taking a dump? It's like, I'm on the toilet. What do you expect?
That was the running gag.
It's like, you're always taking the dump in the toilet. You're always in the bathroom taking a dump. Like,
well,
what
actually,
do you expect me to take a dump?
The funny thing is they don't even say always. The gag was that this man has a condition. The poor man.
Mm-hmm.
Poor man. He has a condition where he has to use the bathroom on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, I guess that going number 1 is not such a big deal.
No. On
the grand scale of things, but taking a shit every day, being regular.
That's awful.
That's a bit weird. I mean, and here in America, we tend to be a bit constipated. So
as God intended.
As God intended, shit pellets just like the animals do. So rock hard pellets, and this man was getting way too much fiber in his diet.
I'm sorry, but when you say like rock hard pellets, I'm picturing like going to Home Alone and like Kevin McAllister taking dumps right at the, like taking pellet dumps, and then like the burglars slipping on them. Like,
wow, your mind goes places, man.
I know.
How the fuck did you get there?
I don't know. It's just like rock hard pellets, and I'm thinking like, well, human-sized shit pellets would be about the size of a marble, like in Home Alone, where so so now I'm picturing an 8-year-old Kevin McAllister dropping trow and shit.
We haven't had anything to drink yet.
No. But coming back to that awkward moment, like I said, I just felt like it was a pretty nothing movie. There was just nothing to really rage over other than unfunniness. And you can only run rage that for so long. And the cheapness was pretty much there. I pointed out like how there was like these weird focus issues. Like there was like this ring of focus.
Oh yeah, that was the movie that had that problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I'm surprised this wasn't in your list.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed. I won't lie.
I don't know. I'm like, how the hell do you not have Lucy? How the hell do you not have Maleficent? How the hell do you have?
I was able to enjoy Lucy way more than that movie. That's just what Ironclad comes down to. It was a stupid movie. It was, another Scarlett Johansson acting like a mannequin movie, but it was still enjoyable beyond this one.
But okay, so I think we come down to pretty much the inevitable.
Yeah.
Our top 2 worst movies now. If it's not one, it's the other.
Yeah.
So I think. So it all comes down to like what was worse, and I still stand by my statement that number 2 was The Single Moms Club.
That's mine. Looks like we got the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Single Moms Club. Once again, this movie. All right, this movie combines the unfunniness of every unfunny comedy that we've seen, the stupidity of like dialogue that makes absolutely no fucking sense, and character interaction that really makes no sense, and then finally
a forced feminist message that's actually anti-feminist. Pretty much.
That's the whole kit and caboodle right there. There's, I keep coming back to that one scene where Tyler Perry is talking to, I forget her face, but I forget her name. And what was it, like he looked inside her purse? Or like he did look inside her purse, but he said like, "You look so fat." I do not.
Oh my god, he did say that. Oh my god.
Yeah, like what the was that supposed to be funny?
The guy went through her purse, and then he went through her wallet. And then he looked at pictures of her and at information about her on her cards and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why he was able to like talk to her about her family. I think it was
because
he looked up everything.
Like he was a fucking stalker.
It was the most creepy mother. He had creeper style like no one else.
It's like, how does she not like mace him and call the cops?
Yeah.
How does she not do that?
And his delivery of these lines about her is stone face, sober, and like I almost expected him to be like, "I'm there right now." Where? In your house.
I think Tyler Perry wrote this script like on a dare. Like he was daring himself. Like, there's no way they'll make this movie. There's just no way.
Did you say this was the worst Tyler Perry movie? Of the ones you've seen.
This is the only Tyler Perry movie I've seen, so that's quite.
It's my only one too.
But it's one. It's definitely one of the worst movies of the year. But the only one that could beat it out. We could
one that could not. I'm not going to say that, but I'll say avoid our list.
Yeah, cannot avoid our list. I can't. I even said it when we were walking out of the theater. I said it while we were walking out of the theater. The worst movie of 2014.
And possibly of the human species. We got a good long time left. We'll see.
I mean, like, we found the new low. We have. let's see if we can.
We had to dig for that bar. Actually,
We had to.
it was pretty deep.
The lowest of the low, Divergent.
Divergent. It came close for Single Moms Club and Divergent. The day that I saw.
Like
No.
you made a case for that Single Moms Club was worse than Divergent because you felt that it was
Like
much...
maybe pound for pound. I don't know, but the thing is, Divergent was so long, and this is the case where I will agree with you that a long movie is a bad movie when it's
like there's
completely bland. But this was just bad.
and not only was it bland, it was all right. First off, it was bland. Second of all, it was long. Third of all, there was bereft of anything good.
Yes.
There is not one good thing to be said about this movie.
Yeah.
I looked from top to bottom and tried to find one good thing to say about this movie, and I kept coming back to like the zipline scene. It's all right.
The zipline scene was all right, because there was some kind of scope of there was depth perception.
At least it was something you don't see every day.
Yeah.
But like a world that makes no
But they
sense.
even managed to fuck that up.
Yeah.
The one almost good part of their film was where they fucked that up too.
Or like
I'm trying to remember what it was they fucked up. It was
like we don't even remember, but I'm pretty sure they fucked it up.
Everything was fucked up, but I was hopeful at that point. I was like, whoa, they're doing something. Are they gonna do something
Like
interesting?
you watch this movie in a fugue state. You're just kind of like, You're just like
My hand was starting to. Wait.
and then you just kind of sink lower and
It was
lower.
kind of like, all right, I'll just wait again.
You just sink lower and lower and lower into your seat the more this movie goes on, because not only does the world not make doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. Not only does like the characterization of the characterization, or what makes her divergent and what makes her man friend divergent, and how they are completely makes no sense when in regards to like how they build their own world and everything else. Just like they made the perfect bad film. Yeah. I think that's what we come away from this movie with. They made the perfect bad film.
It's trying to live in the shadow of the Hunger Games.
And fucking Twilight and Harry Potter.
Yeah, it was just kind of the movie, I guess, in a way. But it wasn't even that good.
It was...
It couldn't even succeed at stealing from other movies.
It's like, I can't even think of ways to improve this movie. I mean, everything needs to, I'm trying to think of a way how you can make this movie...
And the message, the anti-factionist message, was so lost.
Pretty much. There was... You keep... like I said, I keep running through the movie trying to remember all the things that were at least memorable about it, and how they kept retreading the same old ground over and over and over again. The unbelievability, the terribleness of the lead actors.
Oh yeah, the asshole parkours were.
Yeah.
That was the height of action in the film.
That and their weird ass fucking fight scene
God.
I mean, it surprises no one that this will end up at number one. I mean, it's, like I said, if you've been following this show for the entire length,
yeah, there's going to be
It's like, but
there's going to be another one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think what I come away with from doing this list is that I'm surprised that we stuck to our guns. We came out of Divergent saying worst film of the year.
You know what? My critique of this movie, it was made so that there could be a Facebook quiz to see what faction you belong to. That was the point of making this movie. It was made for Facebook quiz.
Are you erudite?
So you can go and lie on your questions and pick the one you want.
Are you dauntless? Are you blah? Are you agrarian?
You remember that much? Damn!
I'm surprised I remembered that.
Yeah.
God damn.
Get rid of that and put something useful in there.
I don't. I can literally remove the physical part of my brain that holds that information and replace it with bubble wrap, and it would still be a better use of real estate. Yes. Fucking Divergent. Don't worry. We're going to be shitting in a box and mailing it to the studio that made that movie. It's in the mail right now. Thank you so much, Hollywood. This story needed to be made because who else could tell such an original tale? Thank you for joining us on this super duper sized episode of Sage Versus.
Yeah.
I hope to see better movies in 2015. I know I will, but I can't imagine seeing much worse.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time.